Hey y'all, welcome to Adventures with Aggie, brought to you by the Ryan Martin Foundation. Today we have the last of our three-part series featuring USA wheelchair curlers on the way to Tokyo 2022. Matt Thums is with us today to tell us all about how much curling means to him. Please welcome Matt.
Matt, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. No, I should
Awesome.
ask, is it Aggie? Augie?
Aggie.
Aggie. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks, Aggie, for having me on. I'm excited. This is my first podcast. So,
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm excited knowing that this is your first podcast. I'm honored to be your first podcast. I found that with a lot of my athletes, actually, that this is their first show, and then it's awesome. And I hope that you go on to do many more podcasts in the future because it's so much fun. But I think I just want to start with simple, easy intro question. Who are you and what do you do?
my name is Matt Thums, and I'm a Paralympian wheelchair curler out of Wausau, Wisconsin. I've been curling for, this will be going on my 10th year.
10 years. That's awesome. Can we go to the beginning of those? How did you find this sport?
I saw a Learn to Curl ad in the newspaper in 2012, the fall of 2012, and I went down to check it out to see what curling was. I didn't know much about it. I didn't even know there was a wheelchair team close to me. So I went down. Then a guy at the club took me under, helped me out, got me going, took me off to a side sheet, and practiced. I actually was throwing rocks with my hands, which is not very well to do it that way. Yeah, after that, I joined the league. That was on a Saturday. On that Monday, I was on a draft league, and I was been curling ever since.
That such a quick turnaround. It must have clicked. Something about that stuck with you. Like I was telling you before, I did my Learn to Curl class in the middle of recording these episodes with you guys. I would love to say I joined a league the day after, 2 days after doing my Learn to Curl. I didn't, but I'm not opposed to it. Maybe in the near future I'll be in a league in New York, but we'll see. I don't know. I wasn't very good, so I might need to get a little
I
better.
highly suggest it. Nobody's very good right out of the gate. Trust me.
Okay, good.
Well, it's very helpful. Excuse me. Curlers they want people to come curl. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot more social than competitive during leagues, and it's more when you get to the higher level, it's more competitive than social. But club curling is awesome. You meet a lot of new people. When I drafted, started with a draft league, so didn't know anybody. They just draw names out of a hat to get you on a team, and then usually the people that start these draft leagues, the skips, the people that are head of the four-person team, are knowledgeable. They're willing to help new curlers, deliveries, strategy, the whole 9 yards. So anybody that goes out thinking they're not going to be very good aren't, but after our seasons, they usually come back after a winter season of curling.
Awesome. Maybe that'll be me in a few years. We'll see. I don't know. I'll probably need to fall down a few more times, figure out what I'm doing, get back
Yes.
up, try again.
Don't worry about a bruised bottom.
Yes, I had a few of those, a few bruises on the hips, but we'll bounce back sooner or later.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask you about your 10 years in the sport. I guess at what point did you realize that you had the option to go high performance with curling? Like when did it not become the social thing? And when did you realize that you were competitive and wanted to do it long term?
Like I said, I was in a draft league, and one of the curlers at the club coached junior girls for a while, and then he knew about the national wheelchair curling team. And there was a pre-trials going on south of where I live, and in the spring of 2013, and I drove down, no expectations, just to check it out. I met the national coach at the time, Steve Brown, and all the wheelchair curlers for the 2014 Paralympics. Learned a lot of technique, what I was doing incorrectly, where to line up, just about everything on that pre-trials I learned that day, on how to get better, what equipment to buy. I had some of the right equipment, but I was using it the wrong way. And
Yeah.
wheelchair curlers, each of them deliver a little different. So I tried 2 or 3 different delivery techniques that day. So the first pre-trials was an eye-opening experience, and I realized if I worked and practiced hard enough, I had a chance to become a Paralympian.
That's awesome. I love that it, it took a little time, I feel like, to figure out how it goes. Like, I tried so many sports in my life. None of them quite stuck, but I kind of went through that trial period of like figuring out how it goes. Then once it feels right, you just know, I guess, like, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do for a while, which is great. And it makes me so excited that so many of my athletes had that moment. I don't know that I did. I wish I did. I wish I found my sport, but I think it's great to hear that it stuck. And now here we are 10 years later, just a few, I was going to say months, just a few weeks out from Beijing, which
We
is,
leave 30 days tomorrow is when we
oh my gosh,
fly out to LA.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to cheer from the other side of the world and wake up at crazy hours and watch all the games and stuff, just like Tokyo, but it'll be great.
Yeah.
I think my favorite question to ask athletes on the way to any Paralympic Games is, what does this road mean to you? Like, what does the road to Beijing mean to Matt?
It means a lot of hard work that went into it is coming to fruition. It means that you represent the United States, the greatest nation on earth, and something that not many people have done. Steve Empt always says there's 11,000 Paralympians in the United States. That's it, or in the history of the Paralympics. And that's of how many people there are. That's not that many. And I'm going to be one of them. So it's exciting. It's humbling. It's knowing that hours that I spent on the ice by myself, just throwing rocks, figuring things out, building that muscle memory is paying off. And I get to wear that flag on my back and represent the USA.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's so cool too. And I didn't realize that that was the number, 11,000. I didn't know that.
I just going to Steve Empt. You talk to him. He knows stuff. He knows a lot of stuff. So I didn't fact check him. I was just taking his word for it.
Yeah, I know.
So if he's wrong, I'm wrong.
That's fine. Then
I always trust my third.
Hey, yeah, no, Steve's, I feel like he's trustworthy guy. But that number though, like, I don't know, I feel like compared to the United States, like, I don't know the population of the United States, I should probably know that, but that's such an elite group, like small, elite, and like crazy talented. I don't know. I'm shocked that it's that 11,000. Wow. Anyway, next question for you. What are you most excited for Beijing? I feel like 2 Olympics in a year is like really exciting. So I'm just excited to sit here and watch and cheer for all my lovely guests. But what are you most looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to the competition. I'm sure it'll be, when I get there, I'll be starstruck or a little overwhelmed maybe, but getting on the ice for the first game, I might have the first end jitters, but I've experienced some competitions that the same way. So I just have to look at it as that. I am the one thing for the Paralympic itself, I'm looking for the opening ceremony. You watch it on TV all these years, Olympics, the Paralympics. It's so cool what they do, the pyrotechnics and light shows, and I'm sure China is going to go all out. They usually try to outdo whoever countries they follow. So
right.
I'm looking forward to the pageantry of I guess the Paralympics would be the opening ceremony.
Absolutely.
I want to buy a GoPro so I can record it.
Yeah.
So it's different watching on TV, but I want to mount one to my chair so I can show my family back home later what it was to be right there.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. You should definitely do that. I want to see it too. We need to have a viewing party online. We can all tune in and watch your video from your GoPro. That sounds like a great idea. And I think it's funny. Oyuna said the same thing. What she's most looking forward to was the opening ceremony. So I guess we're all on the same page. And that seems like an amazing part of the game. Seeing everybody, like all the countries sitting in the same room, is wild. It looks wild on TV. I don't know. Obviously, never been, but I'm super pumped for you. Can't wait to see your video. Home video. That'll be great. Home,
Oh.
Beijing, home. I love it. Great. I want to kind of backtrack a bit. We're here talking about Beijing, but for the people listening who maybe are trying to figure out how to learn to curl, trying to figure out how to do what you're doing and become a Paralympian, go to the Paralympic Games, when you were learning this sport, what was, say, the most challenging part of figuring out how to throw stones, how to do this? What was the toughest part for you?
A lot of it's mental. You got to stay focused on your throwing. But the thing is that once you find out a technique that works, it being a lot of, I lean to the side to deliver. Some people lean forward and push straight. There's several different deliveries. It's just figuring that out and then sticking to it and fine tuning it. But it's really, it's a sport of repetition, of you almost have to do the same thing over and over, because able bodies have sweepers that help manipulate the rock if they have a errant shot, or the Olympic sweepers and national, the good guys don't rely on sweeping too much, but they actually use their sweeping to their advantage. But wheelchair curlers have none of that. It's weight and line, and in order to know we time rocks between the hog lines. As you learn, is the two thick black lines that are in front on each house. We go by time, so you have to know the muscle memory between like a 12-second rock to even a 12.5 to a 13. It's not much in time, but it's how much pressure and weight you have to put on the stone. So that is the hardest to learn, and that just goes with repetition and practice.
Absolutely. Follow-up question to that. What about for people who maybe don't have access to ice or live in Alabama, where there's only one rink that offers curling? How would you replace ice, or can you? I don't know, maybe this is a COVID question. Like when COVID happened, I know lots of ice rinks, lots of pools and gyms and stuff shut down. How did you kind of change your training, and what would you recommend to those people that don't have ice on hand?
If you don't have ice, I don't have ice year round. I don't have it in the summer, but we do some mental drills where you just mentally think of delivering the stone. And I actually made I call it a practice stone. It's just I took like a round plant stand disc with 4 casters on it, mounted a bracket to it where I could screw my stick in and put 42 pounds on it. And I would just, when I deliver, I wouldn't let go of the stone, wouldn't go rolling in my garage. I'd just go back and forth with it. So that was more for just keep the throwing muscles active and the mental game of it.
Got it. Yes. That I don't know. I never thought to learn to curl without ice. You know what I mean? Like that never, I guess, was a realization that I could actually do that. And now hearing from you and Steve, and all of you spoke about it, and I'm like, wow, I feel so silly for not having thought to try this sport just because I didn't have access to a curling facility anywhere. But hopefully that's helpful to people that are trying to figure out how to do the sport without having.
Don't let me discourage anybody that only has access to arena curling ice, because it's better than zero curling ice. I know a couple of people that are in the up and comings only have arena ice, and they go and play, and then when they come to dedicated ice, they just have to know that it's going to be a lot faster and curl a little bit more than what they're used to, which is then in itself part of curling is going to different places to curl. You have to adjust to the ice conditions.
Right.
So usually the person that adjusts to the ice, the team that adjusts to the ice, the speed and the curl quicker has an advantage, and they have the advantage of winning the game also.
For sure. Like I said before, I've only curled once at my Learn to Curl, and ice conditions and all of these terms were so completely foreign to me. I had no idea. They were saying the ice is falling, and I was like, oh my gosh, the ice is falling. Like, I have no idea what this means. It's like, where is it going? But it's okay. We didn't fall. Well, I did fall, but not because the ice was falling. But all of these terms were so so like unheard of. I had never heard this, and I was Googling it and I was like, wow, I need to pick up the lingo. So I think that's something that I want to do before I go back and curl again. But there were lots of words that I had never heard of before.
Just so you know, you only have to curl 3 times. That's the max, and you are the best curler behind the glass watching somebody else curl.
Wow.
We
That's
call
very
them 100% shots are made behind the glass when you're not actually playing. You're like, why'd they do that? Why'd the skip call that? That's a dumb call. So it only takes a few times, and then you're the best curler when you're not playing the game, but you're watching the game. I can remember I went 2013 I went to the pre-trials, and then 2014 was the Olympic Paralympics, and watching Team USA, Pat McDonald, Jimmy Jam, Penny, and David Palmer curl, right? I've only been doing it a year, but I was questioning shots. You know, they were in Sochi, Russia, and I'm up at 1 a.m. watching the game on my computer, and I, not knowing much about strategy, I'm saying, why did he do that? Oh man, that was a good shot, or you know. So
that's funny.
Yeah, it was fun watching Team USA the last 2 Olympics online and play, and now people can watch me, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm so excited to watch you and be a cheerleader from either Alabama or New York. I don't know where I'll be, but cheering for you either way.
I think Alabama is a safer area right now.
Yes.
A lot of crazies up in New York.
Yes. Lots going on in that city. Cool. Let's see. I have 2 more questions for you.
Okay.
These are the 2 questions that I ask every athlete that comes on the show. My favorite part, hopefully people hear this and then they go out and they're inspired to go do things and maybe curl and be awesome in the world. So first question for the last 2 is, what has the sport of curling taught you about yourself?
It's taught me to be disciplined. If you have a regimen, you have to follow it to the T. Like when you're delivering a stone, you can't let anything creep in your mind about what you're doing. You have to be in the moment and stay in the moment all the way through in order to succeed at it. There was Lanny Bastion. We read books and listened to podcasts, and one of his sayings is, if you're doing something, do something. Be in the moment, be where you're at. If you're listening to somebody talk, don't pick up your phone and be distracted by something else. It's just, you're supposed to be in the moment. And I was watching, what was I watching? The figure skating championships, and one, I don't remember the name of the skater, but he didn't finish in gold last year because he knew he was doing so well. He let the last 15 seconds of his skate go wrong because he figured he had it in the bag, and that's when he started making mistakes. And I was like, yeah, that's right. So when I'm out there practicing and there's people on other sheets next to me, I have to zone them out. I just have to do what I'm doing and not listen to the talk next to me or anything like that. Because in order to be successful, you have to do what you're doing and not think of anything else.
Absolutely. I love that advice. I feel like I've heard the do something, but do something. I've heard that before and I don't remember where, but I love it. And I do think about that a lot. Anyway.
I was paraphrasing. I know I didn't quote it correctly. So
but I've heard it. I heard it recently of like, don't just do it, but do it. Like, I feel like that was what I heard. And maybe it's a Nike thing, just do it. That's what it feels like, but it's fine. Anyway, I love it. I love it. Going off of this, what advice would you give to your younger self? What would you tell younger Matt if he's in need of advice?
Post-injury or pre-injury?
Whatever you'd like. You can do both if you want. Most people do post.
Okay. Well, I wish I would have found wheelchair curling sooner. There was actually, I lived probably about an hour from where I live now, and there was a club 20 minutes from my house then too. But I had no idea. I had no idea what curling was. I didn't know wheelchair curling, but I can guarantee you, if I would have found it out 10 years ago, I've been injured for 16 years now. 10 years ago, or when I first got injured, I'd probably be doing it for 16 years instead of just 10.
Wow.
But no, that's not really what I would just say. Just be dedicated at something. I have a passion for curling. I I always wanted to be that guy that was like make the free throw to win the game, to have it all on your shoulders to finish it. When I was in high school, our baseball team was pretty good, and we were in the conference semifinals or the regional semifinals. I mean, and I was up to bat, bases loaded. We needed 2 runs to tie, right? And there was 2 outs, and I'm up, and this isn't a made up story. And I went down swinging, but I never connected, and I was that guy that didn't finish out. And it always reminds me, I don't know what I could have done different, practice batting more. I don't know at the time. That was way a long time ago. But being the guy, I'm gonna skip the Team USA, and my teammates, they already they threw their stones the best of their ability, and it's up to me to close the door to finish out. And I want to be that guy that hits the ball this round. So
Absolutely.
that doesn't answer your question directly, but
No, it's great. It's great. I think the story tells a lesson in itself, which is very helpful too, because people can hear advice all day long, and then if there's not like a real example or some kind of personal experience with it, it's harder to picture. So I think the story about your baseball days does help a lot. But anyway, I love ending the show on this question because hearing the advice last, I hope resonates, and then people take it out into the world and they're dedicated and focused and practice, and all the lessons that your story told, I hope that it helps. But this was perfect. Matt, thank you so much for sharing your story today.
Thank you, Aggie, for having me on. I'm excited.
Matt, thank you so very much for coming on the show today to share your story and all the adventures that curling has brought you. Join us next week for another episode of Adventures with Aggie. We're stepping away from winter sports for 1 week, and we're going to put out an episode with 2024 Paris Paralympic hopeful Hannah Sloan.